Yet because of tiers, you don't think about the matchup as much as you think about which mid is the strongest, which mid is going to have the most impact around the map and in sides. And with scaling fused by this, I'm actually going to realize that in fact the Rise is coming, and Ucal probably did communicate that to them as well. And they handled it very, very well, and it should lead to first Dragon.
Unless, oh, okay, GIDEON not able to get over the wall, decided not to flash in, which is what he would have had to do, unless someone got in range. As Teddy is possibly in an uncomfortable spot, as Roma's getting on down here, Andil going to get thrown away as Teddy able to Valkyrie himself to safety. The slows do come through, and the anchor goes entirely wide, but it's 2 kills for Jiwoo immediately, and Willa has the Crescent Guard. Roma nowhere to go, and it's doubles upon doubles here for DRX. And some top laners fighting in the top lane, but
DRX like, cool, we're going to take another objective here as we keep having that bottom side prio.
Oh. Hook going to come on through, but now we've got the unbreakable will for Namgung. We'll see when he actually decides to press that button as he's going down very, very low. Andil now looking for the angle as in comes GIDEON. Namgung is just dead though. That's another kill over to Jiwoo, and now the shockwave has to be flashed, but the flash hook from Andil comes in, and Ucal will be able to lock him down. The first kill for the Orianna as casting. Was he interrupted? He was.
Yeah,
Rich manages to get the ult off. Beautifully done.
But that's kind of on casting probably, right? Like when you're channeling that, it's pretty tough for the ambassador to not interrupt you.
You go at the same time with his torch already built up. Roma's removing over, but let's see whether he can actually get anything done as the Grand Starfall does get GIDEON in there. That's going to be the steal away though, as it went down to about 1 health. Shockwave is going to connect as GIDEON's going so low, but the Aegis does a fair bit of work, but there's a public execution as Teddy will be taken down. Now Rich's turn to get involved as DRX wipe out 3, and the rest of the bros just have to realm warp themselves to safety. But I think Roma should have aimed that one at game number 2 instead of this, as another hook weaves around the turret, and Jiwoo says, I can't be bothered walking over that way, I'm just gonna take this plate.
Yeah, so the resurgence of Andil, that's really feeling it still.
End up in a loss. However, Nexus is alive, so we cannot count them out just yet. It's Rich, even winning his top lane matchup now.
Bolt's coming back.
Yeah, let's see whether casting can make something happen here as the public execution does nothing, the equalizer does less, and if an R button is pressed in the top lane, you must also press your R button. These are the rules, and they obey.
I guess he just thought Rich wasn't going to miss. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he definitely missed, and then he thought about it for a second, and then threw his ultimate.
It was very weird. It's like he just kind of reacted there or something. I don't... But either way, nobody dies except this turret, but he's not really alive, is he? I mean, we had this debate once. I'm not going to get into it again. But
yeah, we should not do that. As Rich,
okay, right? He's got flash.
He's going to flash out of the way of the flash pole, and he will keep himself alive. That is Soul Point going over to DRX.
Certainly true. Now there's scaling as well.
Oh, true.
Romer.
All right, Roma is going to try and put Rich in prison, but he may publicly execute him in 1 second's time.
Rich
Namgung's making his way down. Yeah, Rich this time I think will get pulverized to death as they're looking to double their amount of kills. Public execution is going to be used for fun here as Rich will be taken out. Overloading here on the bottom side of the map as the pros.
Doesn't have TP. Like, I think they should be able to get out just fine as long as they don't greed super hard here. If they greed a little bit more, they're all dead.
Well, we'll just have to see, because of course with Rich dead and no teleport, then it should be a man advantage here for the bros. And so they are just going to be able to wander their way out. And everyone is going to be safe. All 5 members here towards this bottom side. Decent way to find something as Namgung looking for an angle. They do look to turn it. There's a Grand Starfall as Ucal is going to be the target here for GIDEON, but he's down so low. Equalizer is great here from casting, but the shockwave's even better. And down goes the Pantheon. Teddy having to get out of the way of Willa now. Wind becomes lightning, goes white, but Andil always finds the hooks, and he flashes in to sacrifice himself, but take down all of the pros. That's going to be the ace, and DRX, they woke up on the right side of the
the man advantage. She was like, I'm worth 3 men right now, actually.
Yeah.
And Teddy is hitting a Xin Zhao that's also hitting him. And so there isn't really a whole lot in this one. Let's see what happened to GIDEON in the
GIDEON
replay.
has exited the video game for the next 30 seconds. That's what just happened.
I was promised I could farm later. They said I could farm later. They didn't let me farm for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, later is game 2. He will be able to farm then. All right, there's Pulverize onto Jiwoo. That would have been great 20 minutes ago. Unfortunately, it is not that case.
I mean, this is certainly feeling like a kind of gap everywhere outside of the laning phase for casting. You know, Bro just are getting outclassed in every position, and the team coordination, coach comms without DRX look great in this game. The coordination is just much better. They've been able to basically just absorb all of the pressure from Bro, who played this scaling comp like it was an early game comp and found out that it's not.
Well, Rich looking for a little bit of an angle here to publicly execute Roma, as Andil's just going to get a flash with that hook. Gideon down to 50% as Namgung just cannot make it towards his teammate. Shockwave connects onto Roma. That's the priority target they're looking for, as Rich is able to help take him down. And now Carson going to avoid that hook very nicely, but there's the Arc of Ruin, and they will all disintegrate under this inner turret. Jiwoo happily tanks that one up, has a big old shield as well, and it is only Teddy left standing.
Yep, that's kind of been like, nah, I hate it when the Xinjiao's autoing. He keeps doing that in these fights. I'm out of here. Sorry, I can't join.
Namgung did that thing where he walked into the jungle now, so the cow is dead. And Willett looking for an angle towards Teddy. He can audaciously charge towards him if he wants to, but decides instead he's going to hit a minion with that button. Doesn't want to go underneath the enemy turret.
And Namgung's defense, he is playing Alistair 15,000 gold behind with no ultimate and no aftershock. And he has a Zeke's. You know, he's just,
I mean,
he's
right
not
now
really playing the game.
We shouldn't really be assessing Bro's play at this stage. They're going to get publicly executed. Both of the carries just eviscerated here by Rich, who gets a big old shield to keep him alive. Casting now down to 50%, but there's the hook onto Gideon, as Namgung does get a headbutt back onto Rich, but he's happily able to dash his way out. I say happily, I mean he limped. But still, it's a triple kill here for Ucal on this Orianna. Can he get a penta? That's the question, as the bottom lane's still up here for the Bros. I think enough time has passed, and DRX are just going to get down to business here and take down these Nexus turrets. My goodness, what an absolute statement game in game number one, and what a time to do it here for DRX as well in the first game of the play-ins. It's looking very different from Super Week here as they take down the first Nexus of the series.
Oh, I think there's a lot to contextualize about this game. Great into Rakan. Also really works incredibly well with the Talia the Vi. Setup there is so strong. It also becomes really a strong front line in this composition that doesn't have otherwise one here. Dragon take here, a little bit aggressive, but they have enough control with this Elise.
Yeah, midwave looks to be in control by Roma, and that is going to be that first Hex Tech Dragon.
Dragon getting taken for free here, but see what soul we get. The two individual Drakes themselves are powerful, as we are even going to see a TP from Ucal with that item completion. But it's too slow, though.
And it is Chemtech Soul. We knew it. Thanks, Ox. Can we get him on camera?
Yeah, maybe can we do a pip of Ox right now on the couch? I'm sure he's
or just
watching.
a not Ox pip of him just not being there, because that's probably what's happened. As Rich with some needlework.
Control is just going to be fodder, like Elise often is, but those still kind of be fodder.
Yeah.
He runs into Jarvan, he's not going to like it.
Well, he's going to get engaged on here, and almost, he just dies.
Everybody is
first
fodder,
blood goes over to Jiwoo.
Sorry, no, I'm going to caster curses work on anybody, okay?
Can you believe that Chronically used to say that caster curses weren't real?
Yeah, I mean, after
we've got so much proof.
I mean, literally the Chemtech, so I don't...
Yeah. Look,
I was like him once. You know, I was like, this is BS. This isn't real. There's no way. But I cast 2 years of LCK, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
I'm also a born-again cursor. All right, there's a seismic shove onto Willow. Works out quite nicely, but into the backline goes Ucal. They will be able to take down the Jarvan first as Mega Cone to get Roma to the enemy side of things. Flash out from Ucal, and he just zaps him with his little staff to take down his opposite number. A 1-for-1 in the jungle, but the Bros are at least on the board.
Yeah, it could have gone worse.
Yeah.
Could have gone better for Romer, but...
There's another grand entrance connecting onto Namgung, but man, he's so squishy. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, he does boom damage. And he does a little electrocution. But he does not...
His back does come through.
I think no matter what, this turret is going down, so let's see what he tries to do in the interim, as he is running over to the Dragon, and they are going to contest.
All right. Featherstorm thrown out to avoid getting hit by an Ezreal ultimate. That's kind of insane, as Ucal is going for a Herald ride. Let's see whether he can knock up Gideon. He does do so. Weaver's Wall comes down to split up this fight. As let's see whether DRX can get this one down. Andil's going to be going down. That is going to be the soul point denied. As Ucal trying to take out this fight. Gideon going to be taken out first. Jiwoo gets over the wall, but they go between the worlds, and out goes the Azir via the Death Chamber. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of the Bros, but they don't get the Drake.
That was very bizarre, the way that DRX decided to play that. It was extremely greedy. Aren't online yet, and they still need to continue to apply pressure on Dragon, which is why that one Dragon secure might have been worth in the end, even though they gave over kills, because now they have some extra time.
Oh, GIDEON doesn't find the Vault Breaker, but there's the Weaver's Wall. Willa will be able to get away from that. Does have to use the flash, though, in order to avoid it, as now we've got the quickness coming in. They want to take down GIDEON, but he flashes away. Grand Entrance is fantastic. The knock-up with the Flag and Dragon. DRX's team fighting looking so good. Ucal eats all of the rocks, though, and now Casting makes his way forward, trying to do his best Keen impression, but he gets knocked up by the Grand Entrance. DRX are limping in this fight as the Feather Storm tries to keep Jiwoo alive, and there is the Feather recall. Teddy tries to go ballistic, and he does so. Picks up the double True Shot barrage. Doesn't take down Rich as he manages to be immune, and Teddy just mystic shots the Jarvan instead of dying in the fight. And DRX, I mean, any of these Qs they connect, Teddy could get a pentakill. He decides not to push his luck.
And then Teddy gets the honey fruit. This is actually Valdez's worst, the thing that he hates the most about this fight. Then he has the Mega Cone to get back in. And I think the way he plays is incredible, but I have a bone to pick with this Jarvan re-engage here. Don't go back into the queue.
Yeah.
He's aiming for the Azir as well. You know?
Maybe just expected him not to have... I know, that's not going to be...
do a lot. His value is going to be high, even if his team is massively far behind. Now his team is ahead.
Oh, Grand Entrance coming on forward. There's the repel as GIDEON, gets charmed up. The quickness is so good here as GIDEON's taken down. Roman's dead as well. The feather pullback is decent, but Willa's going to get taken down. Namgung still alive and is able to take down Jiwoo, and DRX
still here. I mean, it's a great play from him, but I think that's really where the miscalculation comes through from DRX, because this is a Fed Ezreal.
God, Teddy, yeah.
And Casting, he's also, you know, he's pretty big. I don't know if there was any way they were going to win that fight.
I'm also not sure whether Gwen is going to be immune as... Oh, never mind. Perhaps Gwen is immune. Rich realizing that he just wants to try and go for the fight. Let's see what he can actually get done here as Casting is his target. Oh my god! It is so close, but Roma finds the shove. Almost 1v3. That's nutty here for Rich on this Gwen. And with 3 invested into the bottom lane, Jiwoo has a lot of DPS and they've got an Azir. Still, GIDEON is going to be here to try and make this a 50-50, but they are just taking away the vision.
Practical here, Joker in the coach box.
Oh god, there is Andil. He stops the interruption, stops the denial, and there's the cease and desist. Speaking of stopping, that is Andil stopped as well. 3 Barons left on the map though as DRX, they make the cross map work, and the Mega Cone to safety. Oh, Valdez is seething today. As the Weaver's Wall comes down, Roma regrets his decision immediately and flashes away. And DRX, a bit of highway robbery here.
I mean, any game is winnable. At this stage, you know, DRX end up losing Rich very soon. And also the Gwen, even though she doesn't win quickly enough to really have side lane pressure, if they want to pinch her, they have to bring 3 people. And as we saw in that last fight, it's not necessarily enough, but that opens up other win cons, other cross maps. And now DRX, I mean, they just could take this Dragon for free with all the pressure of the mid lane, and it looks like Bro are heading to a Baron that don't exist.
Yeah, this is the thing. Oh, we could get the Baron. We'll trade. It's not there. That's obviously not what they were saying, but instead
it's really tricky. This is kind of how you have to play sides, though, as Bro in this game now. It's a really good lane setup because they know the Azir can't really get access to that top turret yet, but they're going to have to be quick. Is Andil?
Namgung is going to go up into the sky, comes back down again, but now Willa going to have to flag and drag. Roma comes on over as GIDEON gets into that back line. Andil looks for the angle, but he doesn't find it. Teddy just takes him out as now Willa flash Cataclysm to get on top, and they do trade the supports. GIDEON goes down as well to his GA, and Willa is able to keep himself alive. Sundisk put in place as well as Willa goes back. I'm not sure about that one, as now Rich really wants to kill Casting because it's personal between these 2 top laners as the Baron up again in 2 seconds time. Oh god, this is not the time that the Bros wanted to lose their jungler.
Let's see how hungry Teddy is with this endless hunger. Does not hit Willer here quite critically.
Look at how fast this Baron goes down though, man. It is kind of insane. The feathers are put together. I don't think this is going to be a steal as Willa did go down to his GA, but thankfully they had the recall of the feathers and Jiwoo is able to lock that one down. So a second Baron here for DRX, and the Bros, they're just running out of Urgs. Yeah. The Urgs just aren't there anymore.
Anything. And then Bro just, unfortunately, Teddy can't do enough damage quickly enough in this setup here.
Yeah, and Willa did have his GA, so like you were saying. All right, quickness gets into the backline there as Andil finds the knock-up, and Teddy Teddy with the Arcane Shift avoids the Emperor's Divide. Willa is going to get taken down though, and now the needlework from Rich isn't finding enough value. Ucal's taken out, casting, starting to pop off. True Shot Barrage doing so much work as Teddy looking to take matters into his own hands as the Feather Storm comes in, and down goes Jiwoo. The bros are just going to ace them.
Teddy, man, look at his face too on the player cam. He knows. He's known it all along. He's known this whole game. He's the only one on Bro who hasn't died. And this man has a lot of gold in his pockets. He has a lot of items, and he has the high skill cap, Endless Hunger. And this man doesn't miss. The Fountain Laser brings us to 3.
Oh my goodness. There is one man on the Rift today that definitely does not need 8 kills in a row to be legendary, but he has them anyway, as Teddy 806 on this Ezreal is going to finish off the Nexus.
And then just otherwise, well,
okay. Yeah. we figured it out. We swapped things up. I'm feeling like
there is that Echoes of Helia build that's been going around.
Yep.
Talk about that later as Willa's here.
Oh, yeah, Willa's making his way down. No flash for Teddy, and a flash forward from Willa. Teddy knows that he is extremely dead. Gets pulled back, and that is first blood over to the Zahan and a couple of assists. Dealt over all 3 of the buttons, so Andil is able to piano as much as he can. Finds another Q as now GIDEON goes in. That is the secure on the blue buff. Nice knock up there, but there is the polymorph onto Willa. He doesn't have flash, remember, so he is very dead. Teleport to bring in the Galio, but it is a turtle port, and he takes forever to get over here. And so the picked up without a contest, as there was the Wukong going back to base, has now a Sheen. So well and truly on the way to the Trinity Force. Both of our junglers wanting to
be able to get that up. Willa should be able to res in the fights, but he won't do that much early in the game. So I think Bro losing this first set of dragons really hurts, actually, because played perfectly. Kind of favors DRX.
Yeah. There's another calling. Now I'm going to have to heal to try and keep himself alive. Opts to use that instead of the wild growth. Gets that movement speed as well, as Willa going in one more time as Teddy. Moonlight Vigil, and Willa is just exploding. He has the passive. No! Not stacked up enough. And now Jiwoo, he's having to get out of there, but Namgung's going to be the one to take the kill. And DRX, they felt like it was a good angle, but the Grim Deliverance didn't really deliver much of anything at all.
Yeah. And like I said, we're not there yet for this composition.
Whoa! Ucal is just flashing in, gets a nice taunt, wins the war to take down Teddy. And yeah, that's some.
Well, and Andil, she does some serve numbers, the champion.
And right now, still has a gigantic mana pool as Teddy. My God, the amount of damage, the culling, and he's just dead. Namgung with all the wild growth just came back. And yeah, Jiwoo is doing some work.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Teddy's going to have the same kind of game he had in Game 2 here in Game 3.
It's looking a little bit like a Game 1 angle, as Ucal gets over the miasma, and in goes Willa. There's a petrifying gaze, but finds 0 luck. And Willa is able to walk away. All right, GIDEON coming on forward here is the flash out from Jiwoo, and he is able to get the shield. There's the heroic entrance as well, and the knock up onto GIDEON. Now Ucal, he saved his 80 carry, looks to try and kill the enemy jungler. The Winds of War are looking good, and DRX, they keep the president alive.
That was a bit of a potential the game, frankly.
Yep, Gravitum set up here for Teddy, so a fair bit of CC on the cards, but look at that, GIDEON just getting pushed out. I don't think he's going to have a way in here with the teleport down from Rich. And Casting hasn't even channeled his just yet. They are just giving up this dragon.
And I just don't think that is, ideal, right? Like, this is not what they wanted to do, but they just couldn't get access. The setup was too good for DRX. At least they got the TP out of Rich.
And they also get the charge out of the Rift Herald at the same time. Just dancing around the battlefield as much as he would like. 2 items here for Jiwoo. He's pretty scary with those quick blades now done as well. And that is mid outer turret falling down. Ucal possibly in trouble, as there's the Cyclone to start this fight off, and Ucal does the walk thing. He is just going to walk. Does flash as well, as there's the flash petrifying gaze. Does manage to catch Willa there, who dances towards this monkey, and Ucal stays alive. Andil comes down here as well with Jiwoo in tow, and Roma, without petrifying gaze, is not going to be able to do anything to these guys outside of Willa, who does go down. Didn't manage to stack things up quite enough, but it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of DRX in the end.
Kind of sold on this comp for DRX. I'm starting to feel like it's actually not only follow up on the Wukong. And
he was looking pretty low.
Zahin took so much damage, and it was valuable.
Teleport in from Roma from that bottom side of the map as Ucal can threaten. He's got 4 seconds until heroic entrance, and he can stay in that bottom lane, put on as much pressure as he would like. GIDEON goes over, delivers a decoy, as now Rich could be in a little... Well, I mean, he's Cassante, so he's not in trouble at all. As now casting, looking for a little bit of an angle here, gets pulled back by Willer as the old Aatrox will get wild growth. It's a decent crescendo there as well, but the Grim Deliverance is massive. Heroic entrance comes down, not a massive amount of value, but Teddy just almost gets popped with that colossal smash out of Ucal, and that should mean the Infernal Soul goes over to DRX.
I think that might be the game, Atlas, here. I think the Bros may have had their last fight in this series and in the LCK Cup, because that was the only fight that they really had left in them that they could try to take on any sort of even terms, but they're so far behind in this game.
Oh, and let's see. DRX, they back away from the Baron. They're not actually looking for that. They want to find a fight instead. Crescendo's back up again as Rich goes in one more time. There's the culling as GIDEON having to move over. Ucal looking for that opportunity. Petrifying Gaze is decent, but Grim Deliverance is just going to deliver a Lulu into the Nether Realm. And now DRX looking to take this plate, maybe even more here, as GIDEON looking worse for wear. That should spell Baron here for DRX.
DRX just having the better macro throughout this series. Starting the Baron, looking for the turn. When Ucal's taunt doesn't get value there, when he's looking for the denial of the entry, he's like, you know what, we just step off Baron. Now we can just hold the door once again, and they can look for another turn.
Yep, sprinting away with that phase rush as the Infernal Chains are going to pull back Ucal momentarily. They are going to pull away from the Baron, so once again they'll stop it. The Jiwoo looking about half health here, but that's sort of a myth, isn't it? As the Infernal Chains don't do too much to Rich.
TP.
Absorb that. He is a big flank to come on forward as Willer is going to pull back casting. He might be the option here as Ucal made his way in and then moves back out once again. Another decoy is going to cause a bit of a ruckus, but DRX aren't getting big enough advantages to guarantee a Baron.
The pull off the Baron the last 2 times made sense. I think starting it a 3rd time here would have been ridiculous now that Namgung is back and they have Cyclone Wild. They have a lead, but they will not just throw this game away. And once again, we go one more time as there's no Wild Growth Cyclone in position here. Look at the vision control. They have control vision here in this Banana Brush.
Yep.
There's no angle.
Peyz towards the top side as well as DRX are not looking for a 50-50 by the looks of things. They really do want to turn. Crescendo still up and available here. As let's see whether Andil is going to go for the play. Does have flash up as well as there's the pullback onto Roma. He's looking for that Petrifying Gaze, but he does not quite find it. As in they go Grim Deliverance as Willer gets into the backline and Teddy is just eviscerated. Down he will go. It's a decent knockup with the Cyclone, but I think it's too little and I think it may be too late as now Rich fighting against casting again will break those chains or those cuffs, Wolf, as you mentioned earlier on. As yeah, that is a very cute snowman, but he is also terrifying as Jiwoo is going to relentlessly pursue. Yes, it is the right name for the ability this time as the sonar is going to go down, but I think Andil did his job. Piercing Light looked so good as GIDEON looking to go down as well. Looking a little worse for where they did lose at least a little more than they would have thought as Willer did go down, but still looking pretty good here for DRX.
Romer did a lot of work, but it's just, you know, not enough.
And the Baron will continue as Jiwoo is going to look to push them away. Crescendo up again here for Andil.
Casting has to TPN if they're going to stop this, but I think at the end of the day, looks like this one is the one that DRX finally get. Here's the TP, it's late.
Yeah, and there's, oh my god, the amount of damage here. It's the Cyclone to interrupt the Justice Punch. That was pretty good out of GIDEON, but he's still walking away. Once again, they stop the Baron.
There's no Cyclone.
Yeah, this is the problematic part. As Winds of War coming on forward, Ucal just on a flank angle here, looking for an opportunity as the culling onto Teddy. Ooh. Petrifying Gaze is pretty good out of Roma. He got a decent amount done in the last team fight. Can he do it again? As the heroic entrance comes down one more time, but it's onto a decoy as Teddy was alive for a little while, but he gets taunted and destroyed as casting pulled back together as Will is able to make it happen this time around on this Zahin. Roma still there with the Twin Fangs, but unfortunately he just cannot walk towards the DRX blockade. And the Elder Dragon is up and available, and there's only a snake standing in the way. DRX thinking instead they might just win the game.
Yeah, the DRX are not going to make a macro mistake here. This is not 2025 DRX. This is a new DRX. Even though his voice can't be heard today, I guarantee you it will be heard in the celebrations to come as Joker, I think, make a huge impact on how this team macros, how they have played out the early days of the LCK Cup, and now a big part of why it looks like they're going to win and advance here in our first round of play-ins.
Yep. Teddy has respawned, but these Nexus turrets are not long for the world. That's a fair bit of damage there from Roma, but he's immediately just taken down. Now Teddy just desperately trying to hold his base alive. He survived for a lot longer than I was expecting, but this Nexus is not going to. Gideon goes down, and there it is. DRX will be advancing forwards here in the play-ins, and unfortunately, Bro are going to